Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel and what is going to be another build series of the Zvezda 35th scale BM-21 Grad, which is the sort of modern take on the Katushka, I think it was called, from World War II. A multi-launch rocket system mounted on a truck. So we're going to put this together, see how we get on. It looks a lovely kit. I've had it for years, so I don't need any comments about supporting Russian manufacturers, blah, blah, blah. I've had this for years, way before the issues became apparent. So I'm going to put this together. I'm building it for the Big Guns Never Tire group build that we're running on Black Rifle Model Works, which essentially is a group build all about sort of artillery, big guns, multi-launch rocket systems, that sort of stuff. So if you're not already a member of the club, follow the link in this description, join the club. This group build runs right until the end of December this year, so there's plenty of time to get involved and put something together. So yeah, I'm going to put this together. I'm not sure how I'm going to finish it, as in what scheme. So either I can do it as like an operational vehicle that's a bit weathered and whatever, or also in the box there is the decals to do like a parade day version, so it would be clean, because they would be polished within an inch of its life, very clean, very sterile, etc. for the parade day version. So let me know in the comments which version you think would be best, either sort of an operational weathered vehicle or a clean parade day version with slightly different markings, etc. I'm leaning towards the parade day version because it's quite unusual to see armor in its clean state. Most models that we see have weathering, etc. on them, so it's quite interesting from a visual point of view to do a clean one. Maybe. So I'm going to crack on. It's quite an involved build, so there'll be more than 2 parts to this build series, that's for sure. So we're going to crack on. I think the first steps are going to be sort of engine, chassis, that sort of thing. So we're going to start that, and I'll try and make this video, this particular video be the engine and chassis. Before we move on to the sexy bits of the kit, the cab, the rocket launch system, etc, etc. So enough of me waffling. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, share the video, pop a comment in, particularly let me know which version you think would be best, or which finish, and I'm going to go down to the bench and I'm going to start working my way through the kit. See you all soon. Okay, folks, so we're making a start. So the first thing the instructions call out for, steps 1 to 3, excuse me, knocking the camera. But steps 1 to 3, we're going to start with the engine. So it's a very simple construction, as you can see. What you will notice on the instructions is I've annotated certain colors. So every sort of black block with the star and the white number is the sort of Zvezda color call out. So I've had a look through those and I've picked predominantly Tamiya that I'm going to use for various bits on the engine itself. So it's a very simple construction, 3 steps, and we'll have the start of the engine. I think there is like a turbo system to go on the top, etc. But that comes later. But we're constructing the engine block, gearbox, fan, all that sort of stuff. So with that in mind, off camera, I have made a start, and here it is. So this is the engine, steps 1 to 3. So all we've done is put it together, and then I've used 3 colors basically. So what I've done is primed it all in Mr. Surfacer 1500 black. In fact, because we're having a problem with this, aren't we, and the focus. So let's move the camera to there, and you'll probably see it better. So there we go, that's better. So we've primed it in 1500 Mr. Surfacer black. Then I've gone over the top, and the metallic colour I have used is LP38, which is flat aluminium. So I've done that all over. And then what I've done is I've used Citadel Norn oil to give a wash all over it, no clear coat, just a wash, which is given this dirty metal colour. And then we've used model colour German grey, or black grey rather. So it's model colour 70862, which is sorry, not German grey, it's black grey. So it's almost like a NATO black type colour. And then we've picked out all the details, brush painted with that the instructions telling us should be black. We don't want pure black because it doesn't look right. It looks too stark. So we've done that. So that's the engine, or the start of the engine complete. Now we're going to move on. So we're essentially moving on to, if I turn the instructions over. So we're moving on to the chassis. So the way Zvezda do things. So down here, you've got all kind of the sub-assemblies in this column. So you put those together and then you start to construct the chassis. So steps 4 down to 11, pretty much down to step 19. So quite a few steps, quite a bit of plastic to play with to get all the chassis of the vehicle complete before we start work on the cab. So what I have done, again off camera, is I have made a start. So this is the plastic. It comes in this grey plastic. The fit is brilliant. It's really, really good. So we've started what is step 4 basically. So as you can see, it's quite long. It's about 10 inches long, the chassis. So it's a decent sized model. And we've got all the details on there. So we will crack on and building that until we get to the end really. Pretty much the entire chassis is black. As you can see, I've marked out here with various sort of dark green bits on it, but predominantly it is black. It's all black, so that makes painting really easy. And then as we move on to sort of the radiator and all that sort of stuff, we're adding some aluminium. So I'll be using the same aluminium, the same metallic, which is LP38. The black I will use Mr. Surfacer 1500 black, so that's a nice flat black colour. But as you can see in the instructions, I have marked out where it's calling for various blacks and aluminiums and that sort of stuff for the chassis. So we're going to crack on with that. I don't propose to show me sticking loads of plastic together. You've seen it once. There may be a little sort of snippet in the corner of the video of me getting all this assembled. And we'll get to the point. So we're going to, in this video, we'll get to this point. So we'll get to step 19. We'll complete that, which is all the chassis complete. And then what we'll do is come back in part 2 and we'll start assembling the cab and all that sort of stuff. But for this video, we're going to complete down to the chassis, basically, is what we're going to do. With reference to the engine, I am going to do a bit of research off camera because it's quite difficult to find pictures of the engine itself. So anyone in the comments that has an idea about the engine itself and where sort of any wires or anything would go, maybe to add a bit of detail. It's not really going to be seen. It's going to be closed up in the bonnet, but as modelers, we like to add a bit of detail and stuff, don't we? I'm guessing maybe here there'll be 3 wires, same on this side here, that will go down somewhere. So maybe we'll do that and maybe use a different color. Not accurate, but it just gives a bit of visual interest, maybe sort of an orange type color, just to contrast against the metallics and the black, but we'll see. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to crack on with the chassis, get all that built, And then I'll come back at the end and show you how it looks. The gearbox, etc. is going in, all the prop shafts and all that sort of stuff, radiator, it's all coming together. So I'm going to crack on with that. So as you can see, I've already done step 4, which is this bit here, and we're going to move on now. Step 5, and I'm just going to work my way through getting the chassis together, and that gives us an idea then of how big this vehicle is going to be. But if I, as I say, it's about 10 inches, I think. If I get a ruler, he says, and hold it up pretty much next to the chassis. So at the moment, that's 8.5 inches long, which in centimeters is about sort of 21. You may get a bit of overhang from the cab and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be, you know, a good 9.5 inches, I would imagine. So it's not a small model by any stretch. But it is, so far, everything fits really, really well. The level of detail is really good. As you can see on the engine, it looks really good. So I'm very happy with it so far. We shall crack on and see what we can do. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, folks. So we're pretty much there, all the way up to step 7. Other than fitting the actual engine and the prop shafts. So the chassis is complete. All of this will be black. So we'll get that sprayed in Mr. Surfacer 1500. And then we have these 2 prop shafts. Now what's really clever is there's no glue. So they literally clip in these end pieces on both. Which actually means that the fit of these is quite easy to get the angle and everything else. So it gives us that opportunity. Obviously the radiator's all done. This will be black, and then we'll probably dry brush the actual textured bit of the radiator or something like that to get it done. And then I'm guessing this is part of the gearbox. So that will fit into the chassis. So this bit itself will be in this sort of aluminium metallic, with the support strut here being in black. So we'll get all these primed up, get them painted, and then we'll come back and see what the chassis looks like, get the engine on, get the prop shafts on, and that takes us all the way up to step 8, essentially, which is good. So yeah, we're making good progress, and so far no issues at all. Everything fits perfectly, no problem, and it's lovely so far. So I have high hopes for the rest of the build. So I'll see you shortly. Hi guys, just a quick interruption. If you're enjoying the video and you're enjoying the channel, can I please ask you to consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting the like button, sharing the video and all that good YouTube stuff. It costs you absolutely nothing and it helps us out massively. Anyway, enough from me. Let's go back to the video. Okay, folks, so we're up to step 7, which is the main chassis complete and the engine fitted with the gearbox and the first bits of prop shaft here. I know this is a gearbox. I'm not sure what this is, split diff or whatever they call it. I know nothing about engines or mechanics. On that note, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned I wasn't sure about wiring. I was struggling to find any sort of engine diagrams, but then I did a bit of research. So although this is a BM-21, it's based on the Ural 375 truck. So I had a look at the engine. And some pictures will pop up in the corner now. I managed to find a few pictures. So I've added some wiring detail. It's not accurate, but it just adds a bit of visual interest. And I've done it roughly as the reference picture showed. There's still bits to fit on top here. But for now, I've added some wiring. And this was just a bit of leftover wire. So if I pick that up, you can see there. It just adds a bit of visual interest to it. Very simple to paint, which is why I didn't bother showing it. So it's Mr. Surfacer black all over, and then these bits picked out with the LP flat aluminium, and then Norn oil from Citadel over that to dirty it up a bit. And that's pretty much it. What you can see, hopefully, is around the edges of the black, we have just done a very light dry brush to accentuate some of the detail. And the colour I've used for that is the Citadel Dawnstone. But any sort of medium grey colour would do the same thing. And it's just to accentuate a bit of the detail. Pretty much none of this is going to be seen on the finished model. Although reading through the instructions, the bonnet is open. You can open the bonnet, you can remove the bonnet. So potentially we're going to see some of this engine detail here. If we take the bonnet off or open it. And that's pretty much it. So that's up to step 7. So now we're going to move on to steps 8, 9 and 10. Which is putting the exhaust on, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to do that off camera. Because it's very, very simple. And then we'll come back and have a look once the chassis is all together with all the leaf springs on and all that sort of good stuff. And that will be the end of the video, really, which takes us right up to the end of step 11. And then the next video we'll move on and get to the decent bit, or decent bits. It's all decent, it goes together flawlessly. Or the more sexy bits, which cab, rocket launch system and all that sort of stuff. So I'll see you guys very, very soon when all this will be complete with all the exhaust in place, etc, etc. So yeah, see you in a minute. Okay, folks, so we are done. So we've followed the instructions through. You saw the engine at the start of the video. So from step 4 right the way through all the chassis, gearbox, etc, all the way through to step 11. But as we can see on step 11, excuse the flickering of the light with the white, I haven't yet added this sort of side step. That's not on there yet, because as you can see, that needs to be in dark green. And depending on what you guys suggest, whether the parade version or the operational version for the finish, will depend on which green I use, essentially. So that's the idea behind that. So I haven't added that side step, which fits sort of around here as yet, but everything else is done. As you can see from the instructions that are showing on the top left of your screen, it's quite complex. There's a lot of work gone into here with all the various tubes, exhaust pipes, air inlets, blah blah blah. I don't know what all of it is. And then we've got these leaf spring suspension on the side, and then underneath you can see we've got all this sort of detail here as well with the exhaust. The exhaust I haven't rusted as yet, because again it will depend on the overall finish that we're going for, which obviously that's you guys to let me know which one you'd like to see. But essentially all this is painted in LP, not prepared at all, am I? LP39, which is flat aluminium. And then over the top of that, without any clear coat, is Norn oil, which is a Citadel product. It's like a wash. And just to sort of give some grime and dirty everything up, there it is, Norn oil. So we've used that on all the metallic parts, and then the rest is just black. It is Mr. Surfacer 1500 black, which is great because that's our primer as well for all of it. I've added some wiring in to give some visual effect, although not accurate. And then although you won't pick it up, or the camera won't pick it up probably, is a lot of these sort of air pipes and radiator pipes, blah, 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 have been done in rubber black. So it's slightly different to the actual black of the chassis. But it's all done. Radiator is on at the front. That will show through the green radiator cover, I would imagine, as we progress with the build. So next up, according to the instructions, is literally going to be moving on to step 12, which continues with sort of drive axles and all that sort of stuff, wheels or the inner wheels, fuel tanks, all that sort of stuff from step 11 or step 12 rather, pretty much all the way down to step 19, which then leads us on from that point. Step 20, we're going on to start constructing the cab itself of the vehicle. So probably this bit, all the sort of drive shafts and whatever, prop shafts, I will do off camera, because it's very samey as this stuff, and it will just finish the chassis completely ready for the cab. And then we'll come back in the next video and start putting the cab together, etc. So what is kind of important is for you guys to let me know, because this is a stage where I need to make a decision really. Are we going to do this version, which is the sort of clean parade day version, or are we going to do one of these, which is the sort of operational version, if you like? So we've got the 4th Guards Tank Division, which is this one, or we have the Russian Army exercises, this one. So we need to decide now, really, which one we're going to do, because that will dictate painting and weathering of exhausts and all that sort of stuff. So as you can see on the parade version, the exhaust is nice and shiny and metal. Although they've shown it on this one, I will add some rust effects and stuff. But I am very much, not that I want to influence you, but I'm very much leaning towards the parade day version. Just this clean, because you don't see armor clean very often. I think that's quite interesting. But I will leave it up to you guys to let me know what you want to see in the comments. And we'll go from there. The Guards version is also very cool. Who knows? Down to you guys. So that's it. The chassis is complete. The engine is complete. I'll do the drive shafts and stuff off camera. And then when we come back in the next video, we're going to be moving on to the cab, which is kind of, we get onto the more interesting bit of the kit, because the majority of this stuff and underneath, it just won't ever be seen, you know. But we know it's there, don't we? Very complex. There's lots of detail on it. There's a great amount of detail that they've included in the kit. And it's complex to put together, but everything fits flawlessly. There's no issues at all. So if you take your time, follow the instructions, which are pretty user-friendly, everything fits. And it's a lovely, lovely build so far. So I have high hopes for the rest of it, and hopefully that will go the same as this bit has gone. So thank you very much for watching. Do the usual YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, share the video. Let me know what you think so far. And that's it really. So we'll come back in the next video and we'll start putting the cab together. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.